I'm recording. And we are back for yet another massive Nyarlathotep session. I actually haven't bothered to look up the number, but we're up there. So, where we last left off, everybody, well, not everybody, Thaddeus and Natalya are recuperating in the hotel. Um, Shelley had just gone down to do some errands and stuff, and that's kind of where we stopped. So if we look at the calendar, we can see that today is Monday the 9th, and it is the evening of that day. So, what is the plan for the
Well,
immediate future?
how are these guys recuperative wise? Like how many days have they been resting? Is this just like
Not
basically 24 hours?
Yeah, it's not long. Um, yeah, it's been about 24 hours since you've been back.
So I guess
So,
that would be my first question is how are they actually doing?
I'd say Natalia is in pretty bad shape. I don't know how she is in her spirits, but physically she's pretty bad off. Thaddeus not quite so much. He's banged up, but he's functional. He can get up and move around, and um, you know to he can reach over for his whiskey glass and stuff like that. So he's not in as bad a shape.
Well, despite going in and out a few times, Shelley's mostly around to help out where needed, and she kind of mother hens Natalia a bit, fussing over her, probably to an extent that's a bit annoying. Um, and you know, seeming kind of maybe a little more nervous and than her normal self, or maybe just because Natalia got hurt. Anyway, she just seems to check on you a little bit more often than absolutely necessary, and maybe even wakes you up to ask how you're doing a couple of times. Um, Thaddeus, she also is, sees that you're doing better, but mm, maybe toward the end of that Monday, she approaches Thaddeus and says, "Well, you might want to, if you're feeling better, go to the bank sometime soon, because I did use all the cash."
What did you use all the cash on?
I gave it to, well, I had the safe deposit box I had to pay for, and gave the rest to EB to help with the people from the temple. If if that's not, it's a little impulsive of me. I've got some means I can draw, and it'll just take a little while to get it here.
No, I'm sure it'll be fine. It's quite a bit of money though, but well, I could always get to more, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I hope you can see it from the perspective of without EB, I might not have been able to get you guys back at all. Um, but anyway, so there's that. Natalia, are you feeling better? I think she looks you over. I think maybe another day of rest or two might be in order. I can bring you your big book again.
Natalia's pretty much any time that she's been awake, and she does sleep with it now beside her, is that large tome, the manuscripts she has. And she seems to be kind of very concentrating, very much focusing on them. And she does look a lot more tired, even if she does get enough sleep. She looks over to Shelley.
Uh, da, if you could bring it over early, that would be
Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's quite a big one, she says with a little smile and goes and picks it up and brings it over to where maybe you're sitting on a couch or in a chair.
Natalia takes it and puts it in her lap. Uses her good arm to go back to the page she was. The medication is helping with the physical pain. I don't know how long it will be before I'm more mobile, but uh, not too sure if I'll well, I'll be taking a backseat to any confrontations from now on, I think.
Shelley looks at her and looks down at her arm and, kind of involuntarily flinches a little bit before catching herself and nods. Have you managed to make any progress on that book of yours, Thaddeus?
Just a little bit. Mind has been elsewhere lately. But yes, I've been reading it.
I wish I could help. I don't speak any Latin.
It would be fine. It just takes a little extra concentration.
Well, if you get stuck, maybe Dr. Kafur could help. I'm sure he knows Latin. He seems, well, like the sort of person who would, anyway.
When should we go see Dr. Kafur? I hope he is still well.
Well, whenever you're feeling well enough to make the trip. Another day or two, maybe?
Tie his face. You can see her nose scrunch up a little bit. I don't want to be a burden on either of you. If you want to go see Dr. Kafur, please don't hesitate on my account.
Well, I think that all in all, Abigail could use a day or two of rest after the ordeal, but I think Dr. Kafur, if he's healthy and still alive, can wait.
Thankfully, I don't think that we left a very clear breadcrumb trail back to him, at any rate.
I hope so. And Natalia sits back in the chair and continues to put her face in the book, trying to distract herself.
All right. It sounds like
Dad is just staring at her. Kind of snaps out of like a little daze. Well, I could use a drink. Can anybody else use a drink? And he looks over the top.
Natalia looks up to Thaddeus and does give him a bit of a... Dad, I don't think I'll ever say no to a drink.
There's a smile. Shelley, can I get you anything?
Shelley kind of looks between the two of them and gives a funny little smile. It's very characteristic of her, but she shakes her. It's getting late. I know you two like to sometimes have a private chat before bed. I'm quite exhausted anyway. I think I'm gonna go take a look at the headdress in the bedroom and then I think I'll drop off.
Okay. You know you can stay, Shelley. Ty sighs and closes the book and looks at her very seriously, very hard. Shelley, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, and mm, it is hard for me to express how much I appreciate you. If that makes sense, I don't want you to feel that you shouldn't stay around.
Oh, I know. She flushes a little bit with what looks like, some genuine, like she seems genuinely touched by what you're saying. Um, there is something else there, um, something she seems to be not saying, um, but she does seem affected by that. I I can't say how much your friendship has all meant to me. And she looks at both of you. It's it's almost worth. No, it has been worth everything I've gone through.
Natalia sits forward a bit and puts her good hand on her chin. Shelley, you do remember that I am psychologist, right?
Oh, yes, of course.
And there is much you're not saying. That is obvious, and I assume that you have things that you don't want to say. I know that Gavigan told us not to meddle in any of your decisions, and I am wondering if he has given you, when you talked before we came, if he gave you decision to come with him, and if that is what you're considering.
Shelley stops and looks at you, and she seems kind of at a loss of what to say. We did speak more of it. I admit to being torn. I told him I would go. It just, I've done such harm without intending to, and I don't see any other way to fix it.
And by going with him, you think that you'll fix things by being alone with him again?
I think that it's perhaps the only way for me to learn what I need to know. I don't even really understand what it is I helped him create, but I know it's terrible.
Talia sighs. She puts down the book on the floor and pushes it underneath the chair that she sits on. Shelley, I cannot control you or tell you what to do. If you think that this is the best path to maybe stopping all this, maybe slowing down what he started, I, of course, don't want you to go. I want you to stay with Thaddeus and I, so we can figure this out together. But you're a very intelligent woman in the ways of sciences, maybe not so much in the social aspects, no offense.
She kind of smiles widely at that, blushing. I think we all understand that to be true.
But if you think this is the way to go, you want to sacrifice your own sanity for this, your own mental health, we'll still be here. But if you think, then I can't stop you.
She looks absolutely just anguished. It's so hard. It was almost a relief to have made up my mind. And she goes and she kind of sits down in another chair across from you guys and runs her hand through her hair in kind of an unconscious stress gesture. You see, if this was all one giant conspiracy, it would be so much, well, I hate to say simpler, but I would know where we needed to point ourselves. But here we've got people in Peru I don't know anything about. And we've got the sect in New York. I don't think they've made any progress, but Gavigan seems to really believe that what he's doing is going to meet with success, and I don't want to even imagine what that's going to look like. But here also in Egypt, I can't believe I'm even allowing myself to believe for a second that it's possible, but if they manage to raise this dead woman, this bride of Nyarlathotep, this mother of some immortal man, that seems like it could also end in disaster. And we can't be in two places at once. That's what I've been thinking anyway.
Natalia looks to Thaddeus for his opinions.
And you're sure that Nyarlathotep and what Gavigan's doing is not connected? I mean, Peru is one thing. I don't think it was connected. I think that was a separate incident, but New York, England, and here are definitely connected, I think.
Well, you see, this is my point exactly. I've had 2 conversations, 2.5, with Gavigan since he's been here. And I've already learned so much more about their structure. And no, I mean, they aren't. They serve, it's like being in 2 branches of the same club, but they're competing. Which is good in a way. They can be used against each other. It's extremely possible that I'd be able to send you information if I was careful. That would help you. And I've convinced Gavigan that it's in his best interest to look the other way to anything that goes on here, because he does not truly want them to succeed with what they're doing, because it is, well, it's going to threaten his success with their success.
The only thing I will say, Shelley, is... Do you remember in the basement at the Juju house where I wanted to go in and I wanted to leave all of you behind because I thought I'd be able to find out more? Maybe stop it in a way.
She nods, a kind of guilty look on her face. I do. And I do feel like a bit of a hypocrite, if that's what you're asking.
It's not.
The situations do bear comparison.
I think if we allow ourselves to think that we can resist the grip of them once we're among them, if we let ourselves believe that, I think we are doomed to fail. I think if you go with Gavigan with these ideas that you can slip us information, no, it will still only be the two of us here. And what are we to do? I don't. I hate saying that I need people, but we need you, Shelley.
Shelley looks at Natalya and she looks at Thaddeus. Do you agree? Do you not see the merit in what I'm proposing?
Well, I 100% think that having a quote unquote spy in the mist would be beneficial immensely. I don't feel that it is a thing that we'd be able to successfully pull off at this point. I understand what you're saying, but it's kind of like the same thing as a juju house. It's you run the risk of falling in the deep end and we lose you, or losing your own sanity. There's a lot that can go on that once you're there, that's unpreventable. I do feel that what Gavin Giddon is doing in comparison with what's going on here, it's tough to understand.
It is, I think, but they're taking different paths to reach the goal, and if one succeeds, well, I don't know what that means, but I know it's not good. There's hints. Oh, we just don't know enough. All right, well, I've been honest with you. I suppose I was hoping to take the coward's way out. But it's better. I suppose we are friends, and we owe each other to be honest.
That we do. I mean, it would be quite different if we had more numbers with us. That way, if we'd be able to respond if we needed to either issue, but there's only three of us. One being away wherever Gavigan is, and I'm assuming is England, and two being here. If you were to get in trouble, we'd never make it back to you in time.
She nods. Well, all I can tell you is I'm going to think about what you've said. Think seriously about it. All right, I am going to go to bed, and I am going to have a look at that headdress now.
Okay. Good night, Shelley.
Yes, don't let the bedbugs bite.
Good night, you two.
All right. Shelley goes off to her room.
still not sure exactly what our next move is to be. And if Shelley is thinking about leaving, I don't know how long it will take me to recover. I don't know if I can do very much besides be the paranoid woman that I have been.
Well, we have nothing but time in a way, but I guess it is self-limiting. But she is kind of right in a way. With Gavin again, if they're two separate sects, but they all working towards the same goal with two different paths. It almost makes you wonder why we try.
There's got to be. There's got to be more. We can't just keep jumping from place to place, attempting to go against these men. To I don't know if even going to the crypt, if the queen is going to help. I feel like if we find that group that's excavating, if we find them, and I don't know, stop them or even just talk to them, just find out what they're doing. There's got to be ways to, I don't know, gather more information, just get deeper. Maybe there's more of a source to all this. I mean, Carlisle kept going. He kept traveling.
Yes. If you seem to remember what happened to Carlisle, it didn't get very far, even though he kept going.
But it's still rumored that people in the expedition, some of them survived. I mean, one of them is rumored to be in Hong Kong still. I don't know if that's still true.
But is he? He may have survived, but he may be
Nah,
a shell of what he was.
he may be. I just wish that, I don't know, if we had more leads, maybe more things Elias could have given us. Did he say anything else to you? Never. He spoke to you much more than me in the year leading up to, you know.
I wish I could say he did say more, but there's quite some time between the last time I talked to him and the meeting in New York. I'm quite sure it's before a lot of the stuff we have from his handwritten accounts is. Pretty sure it's before all that. He didn't seem like he was losing his mind or anything when I talked to him. But I mean, there could be more. There could be something hidden in his words. I mean, I think we stumbled into what he stumbled into. We maybe did it in an earlier fashion. He was here already, chasing leads. We found leads that led us to England first. Now we're chasing this ghost.
Yeah.
But so far they've been a step ahead, and they definitely have more manpower than what we do. We are outgunned every time we turn around.
I feel this is how Elias felt.
That I can agree with.
Natalya puts a hand on her head. I miss him, Thaddeus. I miss him, and I miss Alan. I miss my daughter. Everything seems to be falling apart.
And Thaddeus will pat Natalia's knee. Yes, well, we have been on the losing end since, let's say, since the hotel.
She leans on Thaddeus and takes another drink. At least I have you and Shelley here. I don't know what I'd do without you both.
Well, I dare say that you'd probably be living in New York still.
Probably. I'm still in the dead end job. Still trying to get money to see my daughter and bring her over.
Yes. But whole and probably and definitely more happy in a way.
Yet. No. I don't know where my life would have fully ended up if I did not meet you, Thaddeus. If I didn't take that job.
Well, it's tough to say, really, because you never got to experience it. So, but at least we know that one thing is that your daughter is safe. Even I don't know where she's at. Many layers there.
Good. Good. That's all I can hope for, really, is just her being safe. I don't know what I'd do if anything happened to her.
I couldn't imagine. To have a bond like that is immeasurable. One of a kind, if you some would say. But yes, and rest assured, you will see her again, I'm sure of it.
Yeah, I'll hold you to it, Thaddeus, and blame you if it doesn't happen.
I will take that blame. Because, like, nothing would happen to you that I wouldn't let happen to myself first.
Oh, really? I don't see you punching any monsters in the mouth.
Well, for one, I think getting eaten alive is a horrible way to go. I don't think my punch would hurt a fly, much more a huge beast that punches through walls.
Yes. Natalya finishes off her drink and puts it down. We should go to bed, or at least I should. I've got quite a bit of healing still to do.
Yes. That's probably a great idea. I'll probably stay up a little longer and drink some more of this nice whiskey to ease my mind.
I will take my laudanum and fall asleep quickly. She gets back up and heads to. She'll probably just take her medication and end up just sitting in one of the chairs.
She'd probably like to lie down. It's
True.
the pain.
Yeah, she'll probably find a place and just crash.
Okay. So Thaddeus drinks himself into the night, and we'll say the night passes. Excuse me. So Thaddeus and Natalya, you can both do Constitution checks. Thaddeus, you get a bonus because you're at half or higher, and you're both getting good care. So, all right. So Natalya, you heal 1, and Thaddeus, you heal 3. the alcohol must be kicking in.
It's a disinfectant.
And Natalya, I need you to make a sanity check with a bonus die, please.
Oh boy. Nope.
No. Okay, so you you dream despite the laudanum and medication. You have these really confusing dreams, and you wake up in the morning almost feeling a little frantic. You had a feeling you were trapped somewhere. You can't quite remember where exactly, but you know you were in a dark, small space, and the walls around you were so close that like you couldn't even stretch your arms out. You were just boxed in some pitch black place. You don't know why or how or where. You just that's what you remember when you wake up. So you're kind of a little hyperventilating and Shelley, actually all of you, Shelley, you can make a Cthulhu Mythos roll to see if you figure out anything about the headdress. You're just not sure, but you're studying it. And Thaddeus, Natalya, you can both make your language checks based on what you're reading. So for you, Natalya, it's English, so that's fine. You can do English, and Thaddeus, you can do your French or Latin, rather. I mean. Okay. You'll still get. Okay. So none of you're neither making fantastic progress, but you're making more progress than if you were just not really reading them much at all. So. So actually, that is enough for you, Sim, to complete another little section, and I'll take care of that while you guys figure out whatever's going to happen in the morning. It's Tuesday morning, the 10th of March.
Talia wakes up with a start, breathing heavily. She does groan in pain. She sits up very quick. Shelley, that is. Are you here?
Shelley kind of appears, groggily in her nightgown, her hair all mussed from sleep. Talia, are you okay? What's wrong?
I had some sort of dream. I don't know if they're starting again. And she places a hand over her eyes and where's laudanum?
Shelley hesitates a moment, not sure she should give her more, but then she nods and says, I'll go get it.
Thank you.
Does Thaddeus wait?
You see Thaddeus, some drool coming down his chin, his head double fall out like a light.
Shelley will come over and bring the laudanum, put a little bit in a cup of water or cold tea or whatever's in here and hand it to her. Don't overdo it.
You know, and Natalya takes it, drinking it back, puts down the. I don't know if it's the dreams starting up again or because of how we were transported back here. Some sort of, I was trapped in a very small space, very, very, very small, very dark. I don't know what it means. I don't remember anything past that.
How small? Shelley says curiously.
Very, couldn't I couldn't even extend my arms. Everything was pitch black.
A bit like being buried alive. Like in a sarcophagus.
Maybe.
Shelley looks extremely disturbed.
Why?
It could just be a coincidence.
Ty looks up to Shelley. What do you mean?
Well, you know that one fellow thought you were blessed because of your dreams, that perhaps you have a clearer connection than some others to these forces. And we're here in Egypt, and they're trying to bring back Nyarlathotep. Do you think it's possible that she's reaching out to you, or that you're sensing her?
It could be. I will not say no. I've already had dreams of Black Pharaoh reaching out. At least I think it was him. I don't doubt it.
It could just be a bad dream. Sometimes narcotics, they make us sleep, but the quality of the sleep isn't very good. So I don't want to jump to any conclusions, she says, and kind of pats Natalya on the hand.
No, I think we can't take dreams for granted at this point, Shelley. They always mean something. There's always something to them. I mean, that's how he communicates most of the time.
She kind of shudders. I'm glad that I'm an awfully sound sleeper.
Oh, be very glad of that.
She then stands up and starts fussing around. Do you feel well enough to go down for breakfast today, or should I have things brought?
I'll go downstairs. I would like to get out of this room. It's stuffy. I want to walk. I'm not totally infirm.
And Shelley brightens at this. Okay, I'll help you freshen up. And then she kind of goes into her girl mode where she likes to make people over a bit. She kind of helps you wash your hair in the basin and put on some fresh clothes.
Natalya doesn't seem to resist at all, and she's actually fairly content. I feel like a person almost again. Almost.
Well, you almost look like a person.
Oh, you're funny.
She says, well, if you can manage to comb out your hair, with your good arm, then I'll go wake Thaddeus and see if he's going to join us.
Good luck. And she starts kind of brushing her blonde hair back.
Shelley will try to rouse Thaddeus.
The book is lying closed on his lap, and he's asleep in the chair.
Shelley will come in and, try that voice clearing thing. And that doesn't work. She'll go up and kind of shake his shoulder.
This will kind of rouse up a little bit. Huh? What? What? He stretches arms and look around and see Natalia's up and look over at Shelley. Is everything okay?
Yes, I think Natalya had a rather poor night's sleep, but she wants to get out of the room, and so we're going to go down for breakfast soon. I was hoping that you would join us after cleaning up a bit. She says kind of pointedly.
Yes. Well, I suppose I don't want to hold you up, but I clean up. I can always meet you down there. And he kind of stretch a little bit in his chair. Maybe I'll have some fresh water brought up. No doubt that whatever has been here is used.
Yes, I'll call some up, and then we'll wait a bit. I don't want to have too much of a head start. And so she'll call down for some fresh water.
Sure.
And I think eventually they'll all make their way down for breakfast.
Okay. It's more like a brunch or early lunch, really, by the time you get down there. But yep.
Shelley will check at the front desk to see if there's any messages from Evie or anyone else while they're down.
The front desk man says, "Oh, your dragoman was here earlier this morning, and asked me to convey to you that he would return after lunch in case you were up and needed anything."
All right. We're going to have breakfast, and then I'll give you a message to pass along to him, if you don't mind.
Not at all.
Thank you very much. And she'll head back to the table.
Okay.
She'll sit down with the others. So Evie is checking in on us. So apparently he's alive and well, which is good news. He'll check in after lunch if we want to leave him a message about any plans.
Maybe we should go and see. Natalya taps her on the side of her head.
Dr. Kafour at the museum?
Dr. Kafour.
Shelley looks at Natalya. Maybe let's see how you feel after breakfast. Maybe tomorrow might be better. I don't want you to overdo it.
Oh, all right. It gives me time to read the manuscripts more then.
Yes, it sounds like a wonderful idea.
All right, I'll pass that on. That shall be the plan. We'll aim for late tomorrow morning, about this time. And hopefully you'll have a bit more energy, and then we'll make a late morning outing, and you can come back and rest afterward.
All right. I feel so taken care of.
Okay. I take it you have your lunch. The doctor does come by to check on both of you after right after lunchtime, and he seems pleased with Thaddeus's progress. Tells you you'll be strong as a horse in no time. He doesn't say the same for you, Natalya.
Oh,
He when as he examines you, you can see kind of from his facial expressions, he's not very good at masking his concern and disappointment. He even kind of a couple times, and he says, "Yes, you." He says, "You really shouldn't be up and about. You need good, solid bed rest."
uh, all right, Doctor. I'll make sure to stay in bed more.
Yes. He says, he says, "That is my recommendation." He leaves you some. He checks on your laudanum. You're good with that. And of course, he changes your dressing on your arm, and just kind of cleans you up a little bit. And he says, I'll be back tomorrow to check on you again."
Oh, at about this time.
If that's convenient.
Yes, that should be fine.
Very well. Good day to you. He leaves.
Shelley says, "Well, we'll see how you're doing tomorrow."
Yeah. And after the doctor leaves, Natalya is pretty. She seems more down than before. It's just not taking, I guess.
Oh, it's not that. You're just you were hurt worse than Thaddeus, and he doesn't have much of a bedside manner, that doctor," she says, looking kind of toward the door with an angry expression on her face.
I already know about my arm, so there's not much anyone can do about that anymore.
No, but rest will sure help a little bit, right?
I hope to be better soon. I'd at least like to, I don't know, try again. She looks to her mangled arm covered in dressings. I don't know, maybe attempt to get it back to where it was, at least partially.
You'll get there. It'll take a little time, but I've never known anyone quite as determined as you are.
We'll see.
You punched a monster in the face and broke his teeth. I think you can manage to heal your arm a bit.
Thanks, Shelley.
So do we want to just kind of fast forward, do more
I'm totally
language rolls and
Yeah,
see
I'm
how...
totally fine with that. Yeah.
More talking.
Yeah.
Let's actually do the 24 hours of talking.
Yeah, really. What
24-hour
else?
stream.
What else? Yeah. Okay. So the day will pass quietly. The mood seems like it's a little somber and maybe strained. Even it seems like there's sort of an uncomfortable silence at times, I would imagine. So you each can attempt again, Shelley, it's a Cthulhu mythos, and for the other two, well, actually, Thaddeus, you're done with the book now, so
Yes.
there's really you've plumbed its depths.
Figured out its secrets.
Did you learn anything?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Mm.
Indeed.
So language. Ugh. Goodness me.
I mean, you're still at the very
I'm high as
minimum.
fuck.
At the very minimum, you're getting 2 days worth of progress instead of
That's
one.
good.
So by really kind of devoting yourself to that, you're at least doubling your speed. So
Awesome.
unless
All right.
you fumble, but
Oh, yeah.
We get another day of heals.
they will. Did you want to try your Cthulhu Mythos?
Oh, I did.
Oh, you did. Okay, yeah, you failed.
I loved it.
Do
Almost the
I-
same roll.
Do I have to make another sanity check?
Yes, I do need you to do that with a bonus die.
Okay. Where's my sanity?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm
You're-
going for
You
the
can't see yourself there.
great success.
Okay, so you're okay. You do not have a nightmare that night, so you can both again attempt Constitution checks. Thaddeus, you get a bonus die.
All right.
Oh, so close.
Oh, almost a critical. Okay, so yeah. So you do heal 2, Natalya. That's good. You're making better progress.
Hooray.
Ooh, Thaddeus, you are
Excellent.
all healed up.
All right.
Back to full. It's you've still got a mark, and it's a little sore, but it does not impede you in any way.
Excellent.
The next day, Shelley would have kind of snuck down to the front desk or actually probably the previous day, she would have updated EB with the time that he might be expected, because if they're expecting the doctor, she would have wanted it to be after that.
Okay, so maybe 1 in the afternoon.
Yeah. And depending on how Natalya feels, but we'll wait for the doctor to come by, and I think the next day Shelley's probably a little more, can see there's more color in Natalya, and she seems a little bit perkier. Still bad,
Is that
but
true? Yeah, I mean she's
I don't know about perky.
you can at least kind of move your arm a bit now. It hurts when you do it, but it's still not great. But you had a much better night's sleep that night, and you have been resting, so you're doing okay. And yes, so the doctor is, the doctor basically says to Thaddeus, "You don't need me anymore."
That's good news indeed.
But Natalya, he says, just be very careful with this arm. He says, if you're careful, you will regain at least partial use of the limb, I would expect.
Thank you, Doctor. I'll make sure to not overexert myself.
And he says, I think I'll return in 2 days, if that suits you. I don't think that he says, I was most concerned about infection, and I don't see any infection setting in, so I think you'll be all right for a couple of days. Of course, if anything serious happens, I can be summoned if necessary.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yes. Well then, I shall leave you to your rest. And he takes his hat and puts it on and departs.
So I think realistically, Shelley would be very hesitant to take Natalia out, maybe begging for like kind of like maybe one more day of rest.
Natalia, she kind of sighs a bit, and if you think so.
I do. I think maybe by tomorrow, well, I won't feel like I'm halting your progress by taking you out for a couple of hours.
Eh, And I don't want to put the healing process in any danger. And like you said, at least partial mobility is in the future for me.
Um, you know, we could ask Evie to see if Dr. Kafur would be willing to make a house call.
Mm, why not?
And
We can
Shelley
see.
looks at Thaddeus. What do you think?
But I think that'd be good, but at the same time, we'd be fools to think that they weren't watching us. And then by him coming here, it could put them at risk.
It would expose him somewhat. Um, she shrugs.
One more day won't hurt nothing.
All right then, and maybe then, if Natalia's still not feeling quite up to it, then we'll go back and reconsider that idea. Okay,
Sounds like a wonderful idea.
so we'll do one more day of.
Mm-hmm.
Hooray! Okay. So come on.
Oh,
Can I
so
spend a luck point?
you can.
Do it.
All right. So I'm going to push. Well, what's that? That's not pushing. That's just spending a luck
That's just
point.
spending
Right?
a luck point, right? Yeah. Pushing is where you say I want to roll again, and there are consequences if you fail the second time. And there are usually some consequences even if you succeed. It means it takes a little longer or something like that depending on the situation. But if you fail twice, that's usually bad.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see what all that translates into. So, Natalya, you do make progress. Let me see. What is your
5 to 13.
every 10 days? So, okay. And I'm going to see what your new bit is. Yeah, and so you get to heal 2.
Sweet. And I'll do my sanity.
And
This is one I want to fail.
you don't have to do that now.
Oh, okay.
You made it the one time, so I'm not going to make you do it again.
I also want to say that probably Shelley went down and met Evie, so he wasn't just waiting around for them like all day.
That's nice. Yes. Okay. All right. So I am updating your bit there. You get a new quote and another point of Cthulhu Mythos, Natalya. But you also, so I'm going to change that, but you also lose 1 point of sanity
That's fine.
process. Okay. So that was Wednesday morning up till midday. So and then you've decided you're going to I forgot. Did you talk her into one more day of rest, or what's the
I
plan?
think these roles represented that extra day.
Okay. Yep.
What did Shelley learn about the headdress?
So what Shelley discerns, she actually has a very disturbing experience. She puts it on and she's concentrating and looking at it, and she at one point she puts it on and she kind of clears her mind, and and she has this sudden rush of a few things all at once. In There's a voice that you hear in your head, um, that you're sort of not totally conscious of. It's sort of like you almost black out. And when you kind of come to your senses again, you're not even sure how long you were in this sort of meditative state. But you heard a voice calling to you while you were wearing it. And you feel that there is power for you, and that this headdress is a key to that power, unlocking that power. And you feel that there's energy in the headdress that you hadn't sensed before. And you get this feeling that you can give and take while wearing the headdress. You can put your own self into it, and you can pull that back out again. You're not exactly sure what that means, but that's what you come away from this weird little blackout.
And she feels like there was a voice calling to her, but she doesn't remember any words or
Yeah,
any
it's
sense of what the voice, like male or female, or
right. It's almost like a dream. It's kind of, and the voice was kind of androgynous. It could have been male. It could have been female. You're not entirely sure. Um, and you don't remember the exact words either. It's like your memory is very hazy. It's almost like part of your brain's trying to block it out, or is resistant to it. That's kind of what you feel. You feel this sort of natural barrier being put up mentally. Like you kind of want to remember it, but you also kind of don't want to remember it. It's
yeah.
So you feel kind of cloudy about it.
I think she would, take it off, obviously after that experience, to process everything, and kind of walk out in a daze to where Thaddeus and Natalya are, place it down on a coffee table or a side table. So this is definitely something, she says.
What do you mean?
I just had the strangest experience. I was wearing it, and, well, focusing on doing specific things hadn't really worked, so had rather cleared my mind, and I don't know how much time passed. It was as if I'd fallen asleep, but I didn't. And I thought I heard a voice. I don't know what it was saying or who it was. It's almost like it was in a dream, and I can't quite remember, but there's power in this. she says to the headers. And when I say power, I mean just literally that. I think it's just got raw power in it that you could use if you knew how, and that you could put power into it. Maybe, like, to store it. I don't know. Is that kind of the impression? That's what it sounded like, what you're describing.
Yep.
Okay.
Interesting. I don't know if you should do that, but
Well, I admit it was disturbing. What of your book? Have you learned anything interesting?
I don't know if either of you have come across the called Elder Ones. They were some sort of civilization before the rise of man.
Shelley kind of gets her skeptical look on her face for a minute, and then she kind of shakes her head. Maybe that makes more sense than it would have a few months ago, certainly.
That's for sure.
It also talks about she goes back to a certain path. Something about walking serpents and a god named Yig.
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 Certainly never heard of.
It is unclear. I don't know if they're aliens made here, but there seems to be details within this book how to contact them.
Contact a god?
Нет. These elder ones.
It's fascinating. I wonder if there's anything to it.
You need some sort of offering. But it seems to be some sort of chant to do to bring them to you. I wonder if she kind of scratches the side of her face, if it works.
Shelley seems like she's got this absolutely obvious look of just blatant curiosity, like almost like a child would have when, presented with a puzzle or something like that. And then she kind of shakes her head. That would be something.
I will continue to read on this. It is fascinating. But, manuscript aside, she puts it down on a table. I feel much better this day. But what about you, Thaddeus? Your book. Is Thaddeus even awake? Or is he still snoring away?
Faddis is awake. He's just listening to everybody intently. Well, yes, there's a few things. It's something about a blind lord of chaos or something. But there's a few others in there. I don't know if we discussed them yet. Apparently, there's like something to do with the gate that opens gate boxes. It creates a pair in which you can enter and exit through.
Gate?
Yes, it's quite peculiar. It seems like you can view it lies on the other side of a gate without actually going through it.
Wait. Uh, I say this again.
It's because that's what I see as a window. Maybe it's something that you could walk through or you can view through.
She thinks deeply for a minute. I wonder.
But no, there's a few spells that fall under it. Finding gates, creating a pair of gate boxes.
Spells. Real spells. She shakes her head. Do you think any of these could actually work? I suppose they could. I mean, we've seen crazier things.
Yes, we have, but at the same time, it's. I imagine even if they do, if this isn't something that somebody put down as a parlor trick, but they thought it was magic back when it was written, there's always a cost, I would assume.
There is. And even if it's something that we can't use or choose not to, it's an indication of what we might be facing.
It's quite possible. But it's all I had in this tomb book here.
Um,
Could be something we can look into. I don't know what all entails. It's
Well, Natalia, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling health-wise better. I think the healing process is working. And Dexter Day definitely helped. I think we could maybe go see Dr. Kofur today.
So how do they usually get there? I mean, is it close enough? Are there taxis or little, do people...
Oh yeah, you can get taxis. Most of the taxis are like little bicycle
rickshaws, yeah.
things, yeah. But there are actual taxis as well, like motor cars, especially in this area. Really, pretty much only for Westerners, for the most part. They tend to hang around this area of the city because this is where foreigners come. So yes, if you wanted to go, it's pretty easy to get there.
Yeah.
Having to deal with the tram. Although, as you mentioned, you've pretty much depleted your funds. Not literally entirely, but Thaddeus, you actually are starting to be concerned about your your cash on hand.
Well, maybe a detour to the bank first.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming we've got EB with us.
Okay. He's happy to see you all. And he looks very solicitously at Shelley, like he's, looking her over, like he's concerned that she's okay.
Shelley?
Yeah.
Oh, well, she greets him with, genuine pleasure and always just a little bit of relief that he's alive and well, despite all the danger they're in. Yes. So, have you encountered any difficulties?
To tell you the truth, I have been keeping my head low to the ground. Is that how you say it? I have been staying at home mostly.
That sounds wisest. I think we're going to need to stop at the bank today, and then perhaps the museum.
Then, very good. Yes, it's good to see you out and about again.
Oh, yes. She looks back at Natalya and Thaddeus. I think Thaddeus is quite recovered, and Natalya is well on her way.
Yes, you look much improved, Natalya. I am pleased to see it.
Thank you, Evie. I feel much better than I have the last few days.
Excellent, excellent. So the bank it is. The bank is close enough. It's in walking distance. So you go there first. It feels a little weird after a few days of being sequestered inside. You've almost forgotten how oppressively hot it is. But today is actually not all that bad. But it still, by comparison, still feels pretty exhausting. But you make it to the bank. It's cooler inside there. And yeah, you can take care of your business. Thaddeus, it's just going to be a matter of filling out some papers and speaking with Mr. Jenkins, who's sort of the bank manager. He's very very polite to you and can see that you're obviously a man of wealth. So he gives you special treatment, and he recognizes Shelley. So it shouldn't be too bad. You can make a credit rating check for me, Thaddeus, but I'm expecting that's not going to be a problem.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. This might be a fumble.
Could be.
Lost your passport.
Ah, very good, sir. So they're going. He actually says that he's going to take charge of this personally and see that money is transferred at the earliest opportunity. And of course, he wants to know how much you want and what your bank is in New York and all of that. So you give him all that information. And he assures you that assuming your bank is communicates back and everything checks out, he is happy to forward you the money before the transfer has actually taken place. He said so.
Would thank him very.
He says, of course, sir. With any luck, by let's say tomorrow afternoon, I may have good news for you. He said, if you'd like, you don't even need to come in. I can send someone to wherever you're staying to let you know the moment the funds have been released.
Daddy, of course, would agree and give him the hotel
Okay.
name.
So he acknowledges that it was a pleasure doing business with you and wishes you a good day.
That problem's taken care of.
If only they were all that easy.
Well, I'm sure eventually I can figure out a way to throw money at the situation and make it go.
Shelley looks skeptical. Perhaps. It certainly can't hurt.
Yeah, we could just throw money at that other expedition, tell them to, go away.
Well, Shelley says as they kind of are walking back, getting in the rickshaw again. Money does open a lot of doors. Do you think it's possible that someone in that expedition might not be completely compromised?
That is a good point, Shelley. We might be able to question at least one of them. If you're up for it, that is.
I mean, those notes from the Carlisle expedition, it seemed like at least it didn't happen to them all at the same rate. Some were caught up in all of it very quickly and others not so much.
We could try. We could try. Even if we could, since they have their expedition and they're probably tired, even if just attempting to invite them to some sort of dinner or something. I don't know, somehow get close to them.
Host a museum gala for all Egyptologists in Egypt currently. Something like that, maybe.
Very specific party for very specific people.
Well, there are a lot of them around here, It's Egypt.
True. We could see if maybe we could get something good. See if they would come, if they're not too busy with what they're doing.
If not, I suppose going to them might be the only option, but that would require a lot of caution. So are we still going to the museum? I think maybe heading out to... They're not at Giza, they're at Memphis. That's maybe not in the cards for us quite yet.
No. We're just going to sit up the curve for today.
Okay. So you go to the museum, and when you go to where he usually is, he's not there. And asking for him, you are told that he is not in the museum today. He is doing, the government has called him away for business for today. But that you can try again tomorrow if you want to see him.
Darn. We could look around. I don't think we had much time to fully look around the museum.
That's true. Don't want you to overdo it, but maybe we'll see some.
Yes. I'm wondering if I could use maybe library use to see if I could find anything useful.
In this case, yeah, I'd let you do that. You can try a luck check or library use. That's up to you.
That's so good. I think my library use might be better. Let me see.
Library use would be if you're looking for something very specific.
Maybe
luck would be if you're just kind of wandering around hoping to see something interesting.
I can't think of anything specific. So
yeah, it really would be luck then.
budge.
Not so much.
Oh, luck.
But there's plenty of museum to look at. You can always come back and try another day.
I guess she'll look at some, maybe find some books on. I guess it would be maybe some of just like local histories and stuff.
Well, there's not really a lot of books here. This
Oh.
isn't really a book place. There's
Okay,
a lot
just
yeah, there are tablets and things like that, but there aren't really. There are a few books that are display books from much more recent, periods, post Islam.
okay.
But really, until prior to that, there really isn't much in the way of books.
Okay, so it's really tablets and other stuff.
And lots of curios and things.
Guess it's time to look at the curios for a while.
Yeah, that's what the luck. You're kind of looking around and hoping. You look at for the afternoon. You kind of spend 2 or 3 hours just kind of browsing around the bunch of you and just looking. There's plenty of interesting things, but the luck check was to see if you maybe spot something that is of particular interest to you.
Yeah.
Your studies.
Yeah. Well, Natalya at least enjoys the day out with the three.
Yeah, it's a nice day. You have a good time. You have something at the cafe. Little. It for an afternoon, it almost feels like you kind of, even though you're sort of looking around at things, you don't really have any particular thing you're looking for. So it just kind of feels like three friends, just like out having a fun afternoon, and you almost forget the other side of your life.
I would say as they do travel around, I'd like to keep an eye out to see if there's similar faces to the places that we visited, if we kind of spot out anybody who's following.
I'll let you make a spot hidden check.
Okay.
So you don't think so?
All right.
There's a couple times where you see somebody, you wonder if maybe they're following you, but then you don't see them anymore, and you're kind of like, okay, guess not.
Yeah. Throughout the day, I think Natalya would, in general, perk up a little bit, even through the unbearable heat. She's definitely a bit more content being out of the hotel, being outside.
Shelley seems to be a little disappointed that Dr. Kafur isn't there, but genuinely enjoying the afternoon afterwards, almost seeming a little lighthearted. Eating, whatever they stop for, as a afternoon tea with obvious enjoyment and laughing frequently, looking at both Thaddeus and Natalya. And after a while, she seems to look more concerned. We probably shouldn't overdo it. I didn't expect us to stay out so long. We should get you both back to the hotel. Particularly, I think, you, Natalya. I don't want to undo whatever progress was done.
Yes, of course. Let us head back then. We'll see the doctor tomorrow.
Yes. All right, so back to the hotel, maybe some dinner. Nice fancy dinner.
Yes, anything downstairs.
Okay. So, what do you do in the evening?
I think Natalya would have probably a drink with Thaddeus and idly read through the.
I think Shelley would take a break from the headdress,
Yep.
and she instead um, tells Thaddeus and Natalya a few stories, from her background, her childhood. They learn a little bit more about, her being raised by her father after her mother died in childbirth, and how he took her out hunting, and that's how she knows how to use a shotgun. How he never was terribly educated, but her being the only child and him kind of thinking she could do anything, he made sure that she always had books to study from and encouraged her to pursue things. And, he's passed now. Anyway, she shares some stories like that, how she met her husband. She It might even be a little annoying because she doesn't seem particularly interested in letting you study your book to the extent that you want to.
That's alright. I think if they're sharing things, Natalya would talk about her time in Russia, growing up, how her babushka used to live with them, and how she never really learned how to cook much. For going away, I think she was sent off to Switzerland to study when she was young. She doesn't talk much about the father of her child at all. She kind of avoids that. Talks about the very harsh winters in Russia.
Thaddeus listened intently, would also share some of his growing up as a young rich lad, and how his parents encouraged him to pursue any knowledge pursuit he wanted to take up. So he attended Cornell University and such, and then he would go into scant details about his wife at before while she was alive, and then talk about what happened afterwards. Him not leaving the house for years, being a shut in.
Not much of a shut-in anymore.
Yes, unfortunately not. I'm kind of missing being a shut in a way.
It would be nice to be shut in for a little while. Mm. Then you wouldn't have been on many adventures like in Pearl.
Yes. I suppose I would have found time to fall downstairs at my own house.
And break into other buildings while high on heroin.
Just shakes her head. I miss all the good things.
I don't know. True wasn't as great. I remember us. I think we rode on donkeys, going up towards where the pyramid was. I remember it was very bright. It was beautiful there. It's definitely it's a bit strange. There weren't many tents that Mr. Larkin brought. Talia kind of rubs the back of her head, and you can see her face. I remember I slept in the same tent as Elias.
Yes. And Benjamin with all his pictures.
Did he ever take pictures of you while you slept?
I'd hope not.
You'll never know.
I've certainly seen more of the world than I ever thought I would. As the evening kind of
Winds
goes
down.
on and
Mm-hmm.
winds down, yeah, Shelley kind of seems reluctant to stop, but she looks at Natalia with a little bit of concern. I'm a little worried. You overdid it today. I think it might be time to turn in.
Of course, you're correct. I very much should. I'm tired, a little bit in pain from arm, but
Well, let me get you your medicine. She goes and gets her some laudanum and mixes it in a drink.
Natalia takes it, of course, and waves to both Thaddeus and their good arm. I will see you both in the morning.
Yes. Take care now, and I hope that you don't dream tonight.
Just the one night, it seemed.
Well, that's probably a good thing, I would think.
I think so. And Natalia turns around from the other two and heads into the bedroom to lie down.
Yeah, Shelley watches her go and then walks over to where the drinks are, and a little unusual for herself, she'll occasionally have a nightcap. She'll pour herself and raise an eyebrow at that.
Oh, if you needed not even ask, I will take a glass, of course.
And she nods and pours him a generous glass and brings it over to him.
Much appreciated.
It's amazing that even in this land you can still manage to find the good stuff. And she takes a small sip of her drink.
You know, if it wasn't for the Brits being here, it might be a little harder.
That's true. Well, I think Frank over at the embassy will be able to hook you up, as they say, I think. Should your supplies run low. He seems like a good man. I haven't seen him around lately. Hope he's all right.
Yeah, so I'm sure he's busy. It's being an ambassador and all.
Suddenly, a look of concern flashes over her face. I do. Well, probably best for him that he gets some distance from us.
Yes, well, I mean, we could always visit them tomorrow and see how things go. So I'm sure it'd be good to reinforce our presence as Americans here.
And checking in might not be a bad idea. Well, I'm certainly glad that you seem to be back in fighting form, she says, looking at Thaddeus.
Oh, yes, I will be going 12 rounds with nobody anytime soon, I hope.
Well, you're a good man. And she walks over to him and leans over and gives him a little peck on the cheek. You sleep soundly as well. Don't let any of those bad dreams find their way in.
Ah, yes. And Thaddeus will stand up, and it's a gentlemanly thing to do while she exits the room. I hope you sleep well as well.
And she looks back and smiles. Well, we shall see.
And as she leaves, Thaddeus is actually going to do something he hasn't done for a while. look through his suitcase and find his pocket watch and pour himself another drink, and then stare at his pocket watch and drink the night away.
Mm-hmm. Okay. He drinks the night away. All right, Natalya, you can try your Constitution.
Perfect. 69 though.
Hey,
9.
push it.
Push it, yeah.
Can I push it?
No, you can't
Damn
push this. This is not a conscious thing. So you regain 1 point. Thaddeus, you drink. You actually you do dream in the morning, and you're dreaming about Frank. Your Frank, and you don't know why, but he drives you somewhere like in the middle of like the woods. You remember you're going somewhere, you're driving along a road in the woods, a dirt road, and it's a beautiful day, and you're in good spirits, and he seems like he's in good spirits, and he pulls off the side of the road down a little side road, and stops the car, and you ask him why he's stopping the car, and he just gets out of the car and starts walking away. And in the dream, you're kind of pounding. When you wake up, you're pounding on the glass of the window of your door and calling out to him, why are you leaving? Frank, where are you going? Come back. But he never turns around, he never looks, he just walks away until you can't see him into the woods. And you kind of wake with a start.
Yes, Thaddeus has that dream and wakes up. Look around. It would be morning, or would it still be night?
No, it's like mid-morning. You can see it's obviously not early morning. And, it's quiet. You hear the sounds outside, but in the hotel it's quiet.
Thaddeus would get up and look at his empty glass, and that was definitely an odd one, and kind of shuffle over to where the whiskey's at and pour himself a quick glass to chase the bad feeling away.
Okay, he pours himself a glass, and he sees kind of as he's doing that out of the corner of his eye on there's like a little common area with a couch and a couple of chairs and a little like coffee table, and on that table is Shelley's journal, and it's open, just sitting there.
This, of course, has his glass of whiskey, and it seems like Shelley left her journal here. He'll go over and kind of look at it, being kind of nosy, but not nosy at the same time, and kind of read what it says before he would think about closing it, just to see what it says.
So what does it say? I don't know what it says.
So it's open, and you can see that there's it's the most recent page, although that there's some other pages after it that have been torn out. It says, Thad and Nat, I don't expect you to agree with my decision, but I truly believe this is for the best. All of my efforts have done nothing but make matters worse. I've run miles in my head trying to find answers. The only thing that is clear is that trying to stop a chain of events I don't truly understand is self-defeating. I'm nothing but grateful that you have each other to draw strength from. I wish I could draw more from it. It's not your fault. Relationships have always been a particular challenge for me, and perhaps I'm being selfish, but I feel that I am in particular danger here in Egypt, and I'm so very tired of being afraid and alone with my fear. Often fears based in ignorance, and this is the path that leads to enlightenment. Don't come after me, and let your conscience be clear on that account. I will watch over you from afar if I can. Perhaps I can say hello from time to time, so be sure to check in at the local embassy wherever you end up. Try not to judge me too harshly. I like to think that you know me well enough to give me the benefit of the doubt. We have come to a crossroads, and both paths must be followed. We don't know which leads to salvation. Regardless, I trust that all of your future endeavors will meet with success. If there is a God, then he will have to provide a way. But God helps those who help themselves, and so despite my doubts and heartbreak in leaving you both, I must act. Perhaps we will meet again at the end of all this. Don't get lost in the dark. And as you read that, you see that there's 2 flashlights laid out on the table. Pray that I do not also lose my way. Always your true friend, Shelley.
And Thaddeus, as he gets done reading it, these little tears well up in his eyes a little. He kind of sit back and with his whiskey. Godspeed, Shelley. Godspeed. And he'll take a drink. Yeah. I suppose I'll get ready for the day. He'll go off and start getting ready for the day without waking up Natalya. But he'll look in the room just make sure she's still there.
She is sleeping very soundly, a deep sleep.
So then he'll finish getting. He'll just go wash his face and everything, make himself presentable.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time he's done, if she's not up, he'll go rouse her.
Mm-hmm. All right, she wakes up. Your head is very heavy, Natalya. You slept like a log. You're kind of groggy waking up.
She holds her head as she sits up, pinching her brow. Good. It is. Well, is it the middle of the night? Why are you waking me up?
Oh, good contrary, it's mid-morning.
Oh, and you're. Ooh. She kind of shakes her head a bit. It's strange. I'm usually up so early. Where's Shelley?
And Daddy's sighing and look down. You can see him, he has a whiskey glass already. Well, and you look up. Well, dear, I hate to say that the fearsome trio has become the fiercest duo. She left us a "It's not you, it's me" note.
And the color drains out of Natalya's face as she looks to Thaddeus. And she places a hand over her face. Oh. So she's gone. She's gone too.
Yes, unfortunately. I'm not really sure how we should feel about that. Should we follow her wherever she goes, or do we let her go?
I find people who I don't want to say abandoned, but that's how it feels a little bit. It's better not to follow them. It'll just end up in heartbreak anyway.
Well, then it's settled. I'm sure she'll find a way to reach out to us sooner or later.
She reaches up and holds your arm. I guess it's just you and me.
Yeah.
And that is the curtain.